Want to know if moving to Boston is right for you? We've come up with 10 must-know tips for anyone who might relocate to this historic city. Tip number 1. Find a neighborhood to live in based on where you'll spend most of your time. Because of this, it's essential to plan where you live carefully. If you're living and working in the city, consider a home relatively close to work or one that's nearby an MBTA stop. Tip number 2. If you decide to rent, know your rights as a Boston tenant because the housing market is competitive. It's common to use real estate agents for rentals. But keep in mind that you'll usually need to pay them a fee equal to 1 month's rent, while at the same time paying your landlord your first and last month's rent and a security deposit. Tip number 3. Figure out if you can afford to live here before you move. Living in Boston is infamously expensive. Overall, the cost of living in Boston is 47% greater than the national average. Tip number 4. Find employment in one of Boston's most prolific job industries. 3 of the most prominent industries in Boston include technology, finance, and life sciences. There are tons of startups offering appealing benefits and stock options. Tip number 5. Consider sending your kids to college in Boston or a close-by suburb. With 125 schools in the Boston public school system, there is bound to be a program well-suited for your kid. Tip number 6. Invest in a quality pair of sneakers and a commuter pass. Boston is a 4-season city though, and long winters can make walking biking difficult. Bostonians have to account for snowy, icy and rainy conditions, which not only make a pedestrian route tough, but can also slow up the subway and buses. Tip number 7. Take some time out of your home search to enjoy some Boston cuisine. Boston is a wonderful place to enjoy food and drink. From clam chowder to oysters, seafood is fresher in Boston than in many other parts of the country. Tip number 8. Learn about Boston sports because locals take them very seriously. Tip number 9. Look past some classic Boston stereotypes. Tip number 10. If moving to the city from a suburb, get accustomed to wearing more clothing. As far as weather is concerned, the general quality of life in Boston is similar to many northeastern cities.